What a pleasure to meet you, Maestro Marshall Allen.
Uh-huh.
It's a pleasure to talk with you today. Can you hear me all
Uh,
right?
yeah, I hear you fine.
Very good.
Yeah,
And you're in a rather uh, landmark house in Philadelphia, is that right?
that's right. I'm trying to get it fixed up on right now, and everything's out of order.
I see.
You know, yeah, finding that.
Well, I wish I was there with you, but I'm in Utica, New York, and through the magic of technology, at least we can talk this way.
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah,
Well,
say
I've
that.
got an awful lot I'd like to talk about it in about an hour, but I'm interested in when you were a young man and you joined the military, the now famous 92nd Infantry, the Buffalo
Right,
Soldiers.
that was my first assignment there. They was forming a 28 piece military band that they needed in Fort Huachuca at 92nd Division, Buffalo Division, and they needed a band. So I was in Fort Meade, so I went to sign up for assignment to go what I
Hmm.
want to do. So I wanted to play music. So they said, "Oh yeah, we have a vacancy. 28 people. We got to get 28 people to make up this
Hmm.
army band, 92nd, 370 infantry band." So
What
that's
number
they.
a
So
number
they
of you? Go
uh,
ahead, sir. Go ahead.
they sent me to Fort Huachuca. There, about 5 people went to Fort Huachuca to join the band. They was making a band. They only had about 5 people there, and they need 28 piece of military band.
And then you found
Marches.
yourself in Paris eventually.
Yeah, but first I went to the 92nd Division. So when they were had to go to the mountains in Italy, they transferred the band to headquarters in Sam Houston, Texas, and they put attached us to the Second Cavalry Division in Fort Clark, Texas. And from there we went to Mississippi, and we stayed out there. And then from Mississippi we went to Europe in the convoy, 13 ship convoy. They went in 1945.
Now the
So,
military was segregated for you. Is that correct?
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It was, segregated the same way, which I was used to. I'm 97, so I'm used to dealing with segregated. Segregation. So,
Indeed. Well, you've seen the country change a lot over the years, for sure. What is your memory of one of the most significant changes in society for you?
I don't know. I just want to do what I want to do and go where I want to go and do, and that's it. And you get used to it, and then when you come up and grow up with that stuff, it's already in you. So you have to have some discipline not to get off or anything. You just do what you do and what you can do, and see if you can do anything else. This is as simple,
Okay.
you know.
Did you ever consider doing anything else besides music?
No, music is what I wanted. That was the only thing that keep me well-being. The music was doing me good, and and I get everything from the music.
Hmm. Now
So I said,
you
mhm.
could have decided at the time after World War II, bop was starting to become, the way to play. I guess, and you were associated a little bit with James Moody. And did you decide? Were you looking for something else besides bebop?
Uh, no, I've been playing music. So I had went to the conservatory and had to study it on the Deli Clues, the clarinetist. And it was getting my technique up and learn classical music and everything, all music.
I see.
So I like all the music because everything's good when you listen when somebody's playing it from the spirit and the heart. You see,
Yes.
that's country music, blues, everything. It's from real music.
Yeah.
So I'm not prejudiced against music, any
Right.
kind.
Yeah. Well, that attitude served you well, trying to fit in with Sun Ra. Can you describe to me what it was that attracted you and compelled you to want to be part of that?
Well, I was working at a Revere camera company with polishing lenses, filters for cameras. I was a polisher and I was polishing. And I used to go around the corner to a record store and buy records because I like to buy all kinds of records. I'm from the old school when all the bands was swinging. So the guy told me, I got a real nice record, man, for you. It's a thing with Sun Ra and Cecil Taylor, a whole lot of people was on it. But I heard this band playing this tune, Super Blonde and something else. And I said, oh man, that's a nice band. I was in that. And the guy said, hey man, that's Sun Ra. He rehearses every night and he's always looking for talent. I said, well, yeah. He said, where you live? I said, I live on the south side. He said, yeah, Sun Ra's on the south side, about 6 blocks from where I live, rehearsing every night with the musicians. I said, yeah, okay. I took my horn out. When I got off from work, I went over there that night and to meet Sun Ra. So,
When you got to the house, did you hear music coming out of it?
no, it was Sun Ra used to have rehearsals. They had a lot of ballrooms in the old days, Remember the ballrooms?
Yes.
Where you put your tie and dress up and dance. So he would have an empty ballroom that he would rehearse in,
Mm-hmm.
when they didn't have no activity in. So that's why he built the band. So I went up there and I said, well, it's in my neighborhood. It's about 6 blocks from where I live. So I went up there with my horn and I've been there ever since. That was in 1958.
Yeah, I did the math. I think that's 63 years, Mr. Allen.
That's right. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
we celebrate Freddie Green and Harry Carney for how long they stayed with Basie and Ellington, but you got them beat by quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, well, I admired all those, although I was looking up to them.
Well,
I wanted to play like Johnny Hodges.
yes,
With
a matter
that
of fact,
beautiful tone. Yeah.
one of the well-known critics described here's Marshall Allen's playing as Johnny Hodges from another dimension.
Yeah. Yeah, because I looked up to him because he had this big old, big, fat, beautiful tone.
Yes.
Yeah, this plays so beautiful. I said,
So-
that's what I'm gonna do.
Was it difficult to fit into the band, or at that point was it sort of like a big band and Sun Ra had parts for everyone?
Sun Ra had parts for everything, every day, new parts. Every day he had something new. And he changed what he's got and the song, he changed the stuff every day. It's amazing how he could do that. He write write the music like he write a letter. And he had so much music that the musicians couldn't keep up. It was so many things. So I said, boy, this is, and I didn't understand none of that stuff in one sense, because I was all thinking, I know. And when I got with Sun Ra, he just tore that stuff away. That ego was gone. That part of me. I just like, I don't know nothing, I have to learn. Because he had a different way of tacking the notes. Like every band has Duke Ellington because of the way they sound and articulate notes and stuff. Well, Sun Ra had his style, the way you puncture and you speak like speech,
Yes.
Yeah, so you have to learn that, and you have to learn the dimensions he's playing in, not in the squares like in the spiral. It's always moving. Yeah, and he's talking about space and something like that. And everybody was wondering, oh, can you go to space and go to the moon? And by along that time, they put the Sputnik up there. So, see? Yeah.
Indeed. And now we have UFOs that seem to be circling around. I wonder what Sun Ra would have thought of that.
Well, we was riding in Oklahoma on tour, and one of those UFO was following us. And in Oklahoma, you can see, it's beautiful out there anyway. But it was following us, and it followed us about 5 to 10 minutes. And I was at the World's Fair in New York, the World's Fair they had there. And I've seen 6 of them. And I was looking up, and I was walking with the baritone player, Pat Patrick. And we standing there looking up at this, and they was just making a show. And then they said, and it was gone. So I've seen them about 2 or 3 times in my life. UFO. I guess they were UFO. They was unidentified thing.
Very interesting. Did Sun Ra include things in his written music other than actual notes, like?
Yeah, because you have to interpret it. You have to interpret what the music is. The music is a language. It's just like a language that you study. You have to know the language and all of the syllables and the nouns and pronouns, whatever. You see? And the music, his music was that way. He told me that there's 1,000 ways to play a note or bend a sound. There's 1,000 ways to do it. So he had one of those ways, the way you attack the note and play forward and back instead of straight on. It's like flowing like this. See, that's forward, back, forward, and it soothes the whole spirit and soul because that's swinging.
I'm so pleased you described it that way, because I was envisioning if some of the musicians who were schooled like in the very precise big bands like Benny Goodman or if they were to come in and play Sun Ra's music, he probably wouldn't like it very precise.
Well, that's good when Sun Ra would teach you how to play it and what to play and play from the spirit, not from the head.
Mm-hmm.
You see, it's the difference. What you know and what you feel. It's 2 different. So he didn't want what you knew. Cancel that, which is what? And then he wanted you, the spirit Like you live in life, the spirit of things tell you more than what you know.
Do you
You
try
see.
to continue with that philosophy with the current orchestra members?
Well, everyone that came to Sun Ra came to Sun Ra. He didn't do much recruiting. You understand? Look, they would come because they wanted to play in this band. So that's the way it is now. They come when somebody comes, that means the creator sent somebody here to help to do part because they are sincere and they really want to do it. But I don't have to go out and hire people. You understand?
I understand.
Because all I do is sit here and what I need will come along. And that's that being sincere and open mind and really want to do it. And it's not about money or fame or all that stuff. It's about your well-being and well-being for those who you play for. Music is a language.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over the years, I would assume that there was members in the group that really embraced Sun Ra's equations, and then some members who didn't so much.
Well, that's just like it's a natural thing. That's the way America is. Some people believe in democracy and others believe something else. So all of those that believe in something that's better for being wins, you know?
I see.
Because that's where it is. It's just like life is, you know?
Okay. I think sometimes we try to make things too complicated. But I'm wondering how he dealt with such a. I mean, I've been in my share of bands, and eventually there's always personality conflicts. So people grate on each other's nerves and so forth. Did he try to fix those things, or did he just let them play out?
It was what they call natural. Natural. He was the kind of person that he could look at you and look at your potentials and your faults and everything. He could read you like a book, and you couldn't get away with anything with the slick stuff, because he would expose you, you know. So he's saying that's what you know, and you're going in that direction. And I'm not going in that direction. I'm going in the direction of what you feel and the spirit of things, which is real. So if you, most people come in with, I know this, I know that. I knew how to play, but I didn't know how to. Take that plan I'm doing and make it real. The spirit, you know? So he said, I don't want to hear what you know. I want to hear what you don't know. Or I want you to do what you're not doing.
And did that result in some of the techniques that you now use on the
Yeah, because I had to try everything I could think of, good, bad, or what I think is good, what I think, you know, but until I could get the spirit, the soul of playing something. You see? So, for example, a professional drummer was in the Sun Ra was playing a tune. So he wanted to tell the drummer. So the drummer would know, he knew he was a professional drummer. He was playing everything he knows. So Sun Ra said, no, you don't understand what I mean. So he went outside and there was some children out there. So he said, come here, little boy. The little boy come in. And he said, here's some sticks. This is a drum. Now play, when I play, you play with me. So the little boy didn't know anything, and he did perfect, perfect drum with Sun Ra playing this music. So he told the professional, you see what I mean? He doesn't know anything, and he's going to have to do it by feeling and spirit. And he did the right thing, which that's the way the spirit works. You see? And to show them that because you know, that's not relevant, you know?
Would Sun Ra vocalize things like, no, don't make it sound like that, make it sound like this, and then would he sing at you?
Have you to sing it, play it, and memorize it, and then change it. After you remember your part, he give you another one.
I can picture myself in trying to deal with that, and I'd like have some score paper, and I'd be like trying to write it down.
That's what we was doing on the side of the music. We put the little changes on the side, and you look at the music, it's little dots and dashes, something to keep you in your memory, how to praise something.
Yeah.
No.
And then the next day it's something different.
And then that's gone, and you get something new.
So
if you come to rehearsal today, and you got your part and you played it perfect, good or whatever. You come tomorrow and you didn't come here, then when you come the next day, the music changed. Your part don't fit no more. You have to give you a new part. If you miss a rehearsal. So in other words, every time you rehearsal every day, you have to be there.
And eventually there's a performance or a concert, and there, maybe by Sun Ra's design, this music is going to be changed that day also.
Right. Because you got somebody else added in. Every person added in the music change. So he would get some musicians, add them in, and it would change. So that what you did with the other musicians don't fit with these. You see? And that's frustrating because when you learn your part, you walk in and sit down in your chair and you're ready to roll. And then you get there and the song don't go that way no more because you wasn't at rehearsal yesterday to get the change. And then the change there, and then you lost. And you're trying to play it the old way, and it didn't change the expression.
Did Sun Ra did he have a temper? Would he get angry?
Yeah. If you mess with his music or butcher his music, if he got a pencil or something in his hand, he'll throw it at you. Then, all those kind of temperamental masters do that.
Yeah.
They got a way of telling you that you're not doing something you ain't doing right. They get frustrated. Yeah.
When the house in Philadelphia was sort of communal and you had a group of people living there, what kind of things, the day-to-day, cooking and taking care of the house, and how did that stuff happen? Were you assigned tasks?
Yeah, everybody had something to do. He had people with all walks, plumbers that do plumbing, the carpentry, artists. He's got all kind of people in the band that did that. Mm-hmm. And if we want to do anything, we have to do it ourselves. And that was the thing. You come here, you have to take care of your business, you have to learn, and you have to have some discipline. And we do what we need to do ourselves. If the window's broken, you have to go to the park and fix the window. If the door is broken, or you need some carpentry work or some cement work, you do it. So it was like a self-storage. That anything we want done, So he wanted a sink thing in the room. So one of the drummers was plumber. So the plumber, it called for the plumber to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then he wanted the doors and what's the name, sidewalls fixed. We had a carpenter that know how to do that. So in other words, if we wanted something painter, we had a painter right in the band. We didn't have to hire any companies for any kind of work.
I see.
So that's the same way he did with the music. See?
Yeah. Was it, did it change the dynamic of the band when June Tyson became part of the group? And do you think it was difficult for her being the only woman in a group?
No, because she was the kind of woman that you could be with men and then it wasn't about those sexy things and all that BS, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It was nothing. Because she carried us up in that manner. That she was like in the family, like a sister or something, you know. Yeah. And that's the way she carried herself the same way. So she was the only woman in the band with all these men, you know, but everybody had neutral respect for
I see.
her, you know. Yeah.
Did you ever hear people complain or question Sun Ra's decisions when he wasn't around?
Yeah. I know that was like in Chicago. The trumpet player was a accomplished musician. He's professional. He wrote music, and he got mad at Sun Ra because Sun Ra was playing his space stuff and all these different snippets, and he was Sun Ra, you can't do that and stuff, and you know. And they were arguing on the stuff. Sun Ra, what are you talking about? And they got mad at Sun Ra. They slapped Sun Ra. Sun Ra turned the other cheek. So he was used to being in the square and precise. And if you go out of that, it's not right. You see?
I see.
So that's the way Sun Ra music was. They had these, the ones that had this square mind, and just like me, I had that square mind. I could read that stuff, and I thought I knew everything because I was didn't know. But and then when it come to the spirit, it was a whole different. Everything I played, it's nice, but it's not what I want.
Wow. Was there any anticipation of like a weekly payday?
Payday. If you were Sun, you're the last one to get paid. Everybody else get the regular dues, and so you live in the house and you with Sun, you know, so don't be putting your hand out. That's one thing that used to upset me. I always need some money. Because you wait, you have to pay these fellows.
Well, that's so interesting. I mean,
Yeah.
how could you have personal relationships if you want to take someone out on a date, you know, and you didn't have any bread?
Well, if the date didn't have none, you just say you may as well stay home because that's the way it was. Every time you get a date, he give you some work to do. And then you probably late for the date or don't even make it. If you see you going out the door, wait a minute, I'll do this before you go. And that do this before you go, 2 hours later, you're still there doing that before you go. And by that time, it's too late.
Did the man ever sleep?
Oh, no, he was catnap. He didn't sleep.
I see.
Yeah. Like he'd sit in the chair, play the song, and he'd do that. And you finish the song, then play play that from Let Her Be Down again. I don't know what is that. And then while we playing, say, and then give you another number. See? Same way you do on the stage. You give you an 8-bar introduction. And if you ain't got your music, if you down there trying to find a where is it song, he changes the song. So by the time you look on your chair where your music find the music and you're ready to play it, he done changed the song to another song. And then you say, oh, what's up? And then you go back down and look for it.
Why did he do that?
Because he wanted you to have some discipline, learn the songs by memory or whatever. And when he change it or hit that chord, he expects you to come in. Sometimes he gives you 4 bars, sometimes he gives you 8 bars. Mm-hmm. If you ain't in, the number change.
How did you know? I mean, at different times in the band, you had 4, 5 saxophone players and a few brass. And how did you know when it was your turn to solo?
That's what I get. Mm-hmm. Or a look. Just a look. That's it. And he be playing and he look over at you like that and keep him. And if you don't come in, oh boy.
Oh. How about going out? Did you have to try to sense, okay, I've played long enough here, or were you keeping one eye on him because he might not?
No, I'm keeping an eye on him too.
Yeah.
While I'm playing. Oh yeah. So I play. I just play and just know when to stop. Know when to stop. It's that's why you don't know anything, and the spirit tell you that's it. You know, you automatically know.
Okay.
When to stop.
When the band went to Egypt in 1971, I think, and how did those audience react to the band and the fact that you had Egyptian-looking costuming, and here you are in Egypt? Can you recall what that was like?
Yeah, they like that. They like the music. They like what they respect Sun Ra, and they call him Sun Ra. And Sun Ra was talking about ancient Egypt and stuff, and all those things. And the music is the same way. They would come to listen to the music because Sun Ra had that spirit that they know he wasn't a phony. You see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you ever have the opposite of experience? Like there's a famous incident where the premiere of The Rite of Spring by Stravinsky, and there was almost a riot in the auditorium in the theater. I wonder if you ever played a gig where people were expecting something else. And
yeah, in the Black Forest, the same way. We played in Germany in the Black Forest, and played classical. So Robert played the classical, and then we was in Vienna, so we played their class. Da da dee da da dee dee da da dee. But he put it boom 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 ba ba dee dee. So he gave me that solo. So I had to play that while he played the background. and he take classical and really and play them. Yeah, Russia and all the place. Yeah, he could play the classicals too.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a well-rounded musician.
I see.
You see, yeah.
Yeah. The term Afrofuturism has been written about a lot, and Sun Ra is always included in it. Was it a term that you were familiar with at the time, and do you think that Sun Ra had the intent to be part of Afrofuturism?
Well, it's got and with his music, everything's in it. It's for the world. It's for the whole universe, you see. And he is why he got different names for his orchestra. The Space Orchestra, the Jet Set Orchestra, the Omniverse. They got all different names and he got all the different music that goes with it. Which each thing he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
So the Jet Set, we put on the Jet Set things and play the Jet Set. And then the Omniverse and then everything. The Outer Space Orchestra. And it was like a show band where the musician wasn't just sitting there playing music, they were part of it. And the colors, the right colors on you, make you stand out. All that's for the show. And everything, you take say, oh no, that's not, you don't look right in that, and give you something else to make it stand out. Your personality and all. And the uniforms.
Did humor play any part in the concerts? Were there things that Sun Ra intended to be humorous and the audience maybe was not sure?
No, it's in the music. If you listening, you're paying attention, and you do those things. Then he leaves space for you to put a part in the composition. That's when you get a little solo. You see, you get a solo in this composition. He point to you and you play it. So you have to add to the composition. If there's no composition at all, then you got to pay attention to what he's doing and put your part in there. So just like I'm talking to you tonight, we're gonna play a song. You don't know what it is, you never heard it. I'm gonna start, and then you got to put your part in. See, that's been the creative music, you know.
Mm-hmm. You just made me get a flash of John Coltrane, ba-da-da-da, and the Ascension record.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there was no composition except like a lick. And then everybody was like joined in. Were you aware of when that record came out or the late John?
Yeah, I remember that. Because he used to come and talk with Sun Ra a lot, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He would come up to where we live and talk and have a conversation with Coltrane, you know.
And was John Gilmore in on those?
Yeah, John Gilmore was there all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Were you a Coltrane?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
There's no people I don't like in music, because everybody has something. And if you're a music man and these things, you know there's all the dimensions in music. So different people play them. If it's a rock tune, you can find something in that. If it's any kind, you see.
Mm-hmm.
So you find some beauty and a sense of well-being in all of music. So I'm not prejudiced against the music.
Mm-hmm.
And where it's classical, it's still good. You hear them doing a wonderful job and all.
Did you ever go to the in Philadelphia, the Third Street record store?
Yeah, we used to have records. I had a big poster down there.
Yeah,
Big,
yeah.
yeah, we used to sell the records there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Well, the owner, and amongst another people I've talked to, said, "Well, a Sun Ra concert changed my life."
Yeah,
It
it
had
did
that
it.
effect.
Mhm. It did a lot of things for different people. You know, it did something for different people. It changed mine too. You see?
I would say so. May I ask
Yeah.
what your grandchildren think of your profession?
Uh, what else? What do kids think? Well, you doing it, and they now see that I'm doing it, and they like it.
I'm glad.
When I was doing it, I wasn't making much money and stuff, you know. So everybody was, oh, why don't you do this or make some money? And it wasn't about money. It was about preparing the goods, and then you sell it. Then you spend your time making a product of work. Then you can, it'll sell itself. You see what I mean? But if you weren't about material money and all of this, and you put out a bad product, it don't last. What we put out is from the heart and from hard sweat, and no other values not there until we finish the product. You put it out there and it goes. It sells itself.
And then you're on to the next one.
Right.
Yeah. Did you ever witness Sun Ra? I'm not sure how to ask this. Do anything that seemed inexplicable or miraculous?
Well, if you look at it, he's supposed to do a certain thing in your eye, but he was a natural. So if you did something, you understood. If he done something, that's different. Do you understand that? In other words, just like the politicians, the same way. They got a thing, and then you got one. But Sun Ra would mix with all of that. If you the guy that's doing all the crazy stuff, he also knows about that. You see?
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like he was sitting on a pedestal and that's it. He was down there with you. So everything you do, he knows about it. So if you do something wrong, he knows about that too. You see?
What if you snuck out to
He know about
play
that too.
to play a funk gig and make a few bucks? He would know about that.
Well, you can go play with somebody. He never, as long as it don't get in his schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, with his teaching. You can go play with other people. We all did that, But when he have his, then he play that. But never said anything about not playing with somebody else. You could play with somebody else. I played with Ole Tunji for 4 years,
Mm-hmm.
and the band too.
Yeah.
He was playing that high life music. So.
This may be a very obvious question, but what was the mood of the band when Sun Ra passed?
Well, everybody was working. What am I supposed to do now? Supposed to go on just like he said to do. Said, don't worry, carry on. So that's what I did. I was worrying about now, what am I going to do with all this stuff, all this music? What do I walk away from it? Or do I stand my ground and work hard and keep it up? So I had to make that decision. So I made a decision that nobody else left. What am I going to do all these years wasted? No, carry on as best you can.
Did
That's
you
what
have
I'm
to
doing.
deal with, let's say, other interested parties in Sun Ra's estate and legacy?
Well, that part of it went one way. This part went, this here went this way. So all it could do is put it together. And that's the way it is.
I see.
So I want me to keep the band, good. I'll keep the band and keep the music rolling, and family, whatever they get, goes that way. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the state of the music library? You still have a great deal of that printed, actual handwritten music?
Yeah, I had all of it. All the music was left here,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know, so much music. It's overwhelming.
Yes, I can imagine.
Mm,
And
yeah.
in the music, the parts he had written for some certain size group, which of course now have changed. And if you pull out one,
Well, if I can remember, I mean, in the early days when he left, I could remember all proud to put this puzzle together. You see,
Mhm.
because it's fresh on my mind, but now it's been what, 20, 30 years or whatever. You know, the parts kind of get away. So I'll go another direction, what I feel.
You'll adapt the piece for your own interpretation and what you have now.
Yeah, well, I got to do it
Yeah.
because I can't remember all the jigsaw puzzles and all the different parts of somehow because he was always changing something. So that left it open for me, whatever I'm used to it being changed. So I changed it.
Besides the Fletcher Henderson music, did he put key signatures in the music?
Yeah,
Okay.
he wrote music like you write a letter.
And
You dot all your I's and cross all your T's.
I'm glad you put it that way.
Yeah, and so he put the signature in it and the key. Yeah, it's all there.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with the music, but if he gives it to you so fast, you got to jot down your way of remembering things. You know, even if he makes a perfect piece of music, you still have so much other stuff in it that you have to jot down your little riffs and your little what times you come in, you know.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to remember all that. And they get on the gig and don't even play the song.
Did you ever have a trumpet player behind you go, hey, Marshall, how's my part go?
Yeah, I heard all about it. What am I? Don't forget.
Did he write a score first?
I don't do anything the normal way. You see, then I can give you your part now. You see, that's your part now to start, but that is not the whole composition. So it's everything that I thought would, like musicians are supposed to do and where you do it. It's all the opposite. You see?
Yeah.
And I used to have everything written out real nice and beautiful. I got the sheet. And then he changed all of that stuff. And then when you look at the music again, you understand, wait a minute, that's been changed. You see? So it's like, if you don't put yourself and the spirit in it, you can't function.
Mm-hmm.
But when you do that, and then all the other insignificant things are put aside, then you remember, and they'll come up at the right time, right place.
Well, you have a lot of faith
I
in
do.
that things are going to work out, and if they don't, then that creates something that works out in a different way, I guess.
It's just like, you, this is the way you think today. What about tomorrow? You see, tomorrow you got some other thoughts. So it's the vibrations of the day. Now, today you do this, and tomorrow you read about what you done yesterday, but you don't go do the same thing. You see, natural. So it's nothing except to capture that and use it and put it in the right place. And that's like life is. You put the right things in the right place, things go better for you or whatever.
If a Caucasian musician was attracted to Sun Ra's music and showed up like you did at a rehearsal, would he have been invited, or she, to into the band?
Yeah, we all had the United Nations band in the band. People from Arabs and Englishmen, the Africans, everybody on the planet's been to this band. I mean, all the races in the planet.
Pleased to hear that. Was there a reason but was there more women in the band over the years?
Well, we had dancers.
Oh, right.
They were dancers.
Yes.
And we had quite a few dancers that we use a certain amount at each time. We had dancers from all over the States.
I wanted to tell you that I watched a wonderful video this morning of a rather symphonic piece that started out with a harp, and there was a big hole in the stage, and I was afraid you were going to fall in it.
I don't think I fell in it.
You remember that setup? There was a hole in the stage on purpose, it looked like, and I was wondering, is someone going to come out of that? But I kept thinking, Marshall, please don't fall in that thing.
No, fall. We had the singer. The singer was in Japan singing, and he walked to the edge of the stage and disappeared. And what he had did about 5 or 10 feet, he done fell down in the audience. And I turned around like this. I said, where did the singer go? And he was down in the audience, and people was gathered all around, and the band kept playing. He disappeared, fell down the office, fell off the stage, down on top of the people.
Well, with all the performing the band has done, I'm sure there's been some what we would call train wrecks, like no equipment, people getting lost, and
and then all the music got stuck on the train. We didn't have no music. Now we had to play the gig without the music. So we played it. So it was a different gig. So we had to play by memory, everything. And ain't but so much you can remember on Sun Ra's tune. You might remember the first introductions and the basic number, but all the rest of the stuff in between, you don't know who, what. So you have to go on anyway. So we played the whole thing without one piece of music.
Oh.
because the music got hung up in the train or something. You know, it was late coming.
Was the role of the bass player different from an average band like Count Basie? You know, like if that had happened to Count Basie group, I would think many of the musicians would be keying in to where is the bass player going, and that will help me to remember my part.
Yeah, you listen to the bass, yeah, of course,
Hmm.
because that's each part. But when he change, you got to change too. You see, so you're listening to that, and it's not just one thing going.
Hmm.
You see.
Did you guys kind of take it in stride when he instructed you to start singing?
Well, now you a musician. You supposed to carry a tune, be able to carry a tune. You playing one, and you'd be able to not sit there like a musician, all straight up and stiff, and playing correct, because life ain't like that no way. So that's why he left some space in that for you to be what it is.
Hmm.
You write the poem, and the space in between, you put it in. See?
Yeah. I hear that you just finished.
So then you have to dance, sing, and be a clown and everything else. You got to be a natural person who does things in your life, you know.
Yeah.
So that's why I say, most of the musicians want to sit up and play their horn, wipe their mouth, and sit there like that. But no, that's not intent. You put on some colors, people's looking and feeling. When you're playing, they see all these nice colors, and it inspires people. And you're not just sitting there like a statue. You're dancing like they would dance. You're singing. You're doing all these things. So that's what he wanted his musicians to do,
Hmm.
besides playing the music.
The things that I've seen, the pictures, the video, and the photographs, it seemed to me, and I very well could be wrong, but that Sun Ra usually had the same expression on his face.
Well, his expressions were expression. They're like same expression on my face. I laugh and laugh. It's nothing,
Okay.
you know. I mean, but you know, if he give you a certain look, then you say, "Uh-oh, what did I do?"
Then you see an expression.
Yeah, but when you do something and you get that look, then you're, "Uh-oh, what have I done now?" You see?
How would he fire somebody in the band?
Huh?
How would he have fired someone in the band?
It doesn't fire anybody, really. He got put them in the discipline box, you know, and they go up under his discipline. So that means if you walk out the door, he'll wait a minute before you go. Do this for me. Do this. I can't find this, and they might be right up under him, but he have you looking all night for it. This, he got so many discipline ways.
Mhm.
Make you work, make you write music, make you do a lot of things that you don't want to do.
Oh, I understand you just finished another recording.
Yeah, two. I'm in two. What? I'm in recording. We did two things. Yeah.
Does a Sun Ra recording session go fairly quickly compared to a lot of bands?
Oh boy, he got so many stuff. He like be anywhere recording. like we'd be at rehearsal and he'd be recording. So you get it right, it come out one way, and we go in the studio, it come out another way. Same song.
Yeah.
So he was recording everything. That's why so many tapes and music, because every day, 7 days a week. Now you add put the year on that, not 7 days a week is a lot of recordings. And he just got stacks and stacks of tapes. I got garbage bags full of tapes.
Oh man.
Yeah, you know, the big industrial bags full of tapes.
Wow. Well,
he
this
did
is
every day.
it's been really fascinating for me talking to you, and I want to thank you for your time, and I want to read a quote to sort of wrap up. And you were writing about the time that you were getting to know Sun Ra, and you wanted to get going, and he kept talking about the Bible and Egyptian mythology, and then he said, "We're going to play this music for the 21st century," and you said, "I gotta wait that long?"
Yeah, with no pay or half pay. Dog, I mean, I have to wait the 21st century to make some money.
Well, now you're in the 21st century. You've been doing it for 21
Still
years.
ain't made no money. Yeah. So I'm glad that at least the music, I got the music, I put that out there.
All right.
I did something good, but the money ain't come yet. Still waiting on it.
Yeah. Do you know where do you think Sun Ra's spirit is now?
Well, I know it's around here. It has to be because he didn't told us not to Harlem, cream and sky, and not go there over thing. You keep moving. You know, you take the stuff he done is a work and for the people, and you put it out there and you keep stepping. And you carry on. You see?
Yeah.
So
Well, on that,
he did so many things, so no one person can keep up with all of them. He was an unusual person. I never come out of anybody like him in my life. So, and I just devoted my life to him, you know, to his work.
and we're glad you did, sir.
I am too.
All right.
Else I'd have been lost.
All right.
Going another direction. On the right road, going the wrong direction. You know? Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So it's worth it for me.
Yes.
It kept me with some discipline and some responsibility and all the things that I've been ducking all my life, you know, being responsible. You know? Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right.